When the ICC investigates Israel for fake war crimes, this is pure anti-Semitism. The court established to prevent atrocities like the Nazi Holocaust against the Jewish people is now targeting the one state of the Jewish people. First, it outrageously claims that when Jews live in our homeland, this is a war crime. Second, it claims that when democratic Israel defends itself against terrorists who murder our children, rocket our cities, we're committing another war crime. Yet the ICC refuses to investigate brutal dictatorships like Iran and Syria, who commit horrific atrocities almost daily. As Prime Minister of Israel, I assure you, we will fight this perversion of justice with all our might.
Yeah. Netanyahu is in some deep water right now. I don't care what the media tries to portray and tries to make it seem like that's our ally. The man is in some deep doo-doo, and I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on. So, it's been a lot of rumblings. I did a video maybe a month and a half ago about Bibi Netanyahu actually knowing, being told personally about the events, a week, 10 days, week and a half, 10 days, repeatedly, 3 days before, again, from Egypt, was warned about the attack, right? So come to find out, and I know y'all probably heard because they've been trying to slide the story on the mainstream news like it's not news. Israel knew about the attack up to a year prior to. And they claim they just dismissed it as too aspirational or something like that. I don't know. Brutal attack. Didn't warn anybody. Didn't think it was going to happen. Didn't even prepare in any kind of way. Didn't even have proper backup to just prepare in any kind of way. Just in case something happens, hey, we can mobilize our troops. They actually took more time to mobilize their troops over there than any other time they would have normally took to mobilize their troops at any kind of uprising or like that. So the problem with this is it doesn't hold enough water, because we're getting more and more reports about things that are going on. And it's not really making much sense to me, to other people, to people who paying attention to this, because they knew about it, right? So let's go on to this story right here. This is the one that really throws me off. It says Israeli spies knew of the Hamas threat to the Nova festival hours before attack, but did not pass a warning to the organizers. Like I said, he knew about it and did not pass the warning. The IDF knew about it, and they did not warn the people of Israel on the border town. They did not warn the festival hours before. They say hours before, on October 7th, they had a secret late night meeting. Right, and this is reports from Haaretz newspaper. They reported that. I was trying to pull that one up, but it was behind the pay block. But the first meeting took place over the phone, close to midnight, with senior figures of the IDF. Right, the IDF. So the people that took 8 hours to get there, they met hours before about the attack, and then not hours before the attack. About the attack, and then they get to stop the people. It was like some January 6th type stuff. And they didn't get there, and they knew about it months. Everybody knew about it, but y'all didn't prepare for it, and nor did you get enough people there in time to save anybody. You know what I mean? In Israel's case, there's people lost lives, people died. Is way worse than January 6th. But it was executed in the same manner where it was you knew it was happening. it was warned. They warned you. It was up to a year, which, January 6th, we had maybe like 3-4 months. There was obviously a date they met the morning before it happened. They did not warn the citizens. They did not warn the festival, which they said all they needed was an hour before the festival to save lives. They could have saved 300 lives. They say all the people there are traumatized, mentally traumatized. They said all of them are. I'm curious what they have to say, because we're hearing of reports of Apache helicopters actually there. So the people who came, the soldiers came to fight, actually were killing some of their own citizens. I've heard. So I don't know exactly what's going on, because something like that won't necessarily come to light until later on. Just kind of like this whole Netanyahu knew about it, but they went the first couple weeks like uttering a surprise attack, but they knew it wasn't a surprise attack. They were warned about it up to a year beforehand. They knew all this. I'm sure U.S. intelligence knew all this, but instead of telling us the truth, they like to just control the narrative. So they'll get to the truth eventually. It just takes a while, because they want to control the narrative. They want to control the 24-hour news cycle on every subject. They don't want to just tell us, hey, yeah, man, there wasn't no surprise attack. They knew about it, and they want all the anger to be at Hamas when, oh man, y'all, it wasn't no surprise attack. Y'all knew about it. It should have been on the news, like, hey, this could happen, but it didn't happen that way. So we got Netanyahu facing the worst. He's been criminally charged, international courts, in his own courts in his own states. He's been, they've been trying to remove him for years. There's been so many elections because they've been trying to remove him from being just a fraudulent, corrupt individual within Israel, right? So Netanyahu has probably the lowest approval ratings, and people just want to get him out of there. You see his last ditch effort to, and I'm not going to say stage something, because not to say there's not a thin line in between what they're doing and what a fake event, how you would like, is not, it's the only thing that really distinguishes what they're doing to a real terror act, or a fake terror act, I'll just say, but say a real terror act is the surprise. They're not you're normally surprised by a terror act. You normally aren't prepared for. Then it becomes like a war in a sense. You know what I mean? But a terror act is not. I think a terror attack is just maybe by definition is a surprise attack. There has to be a surprise attack. I guess you can, if you're powerful enough, you could say, I'm going to rain some terror on you guys over here, and rain that terror, and it not be a surprise attack. But when you're dealing with a faction that's smaller than the organization that's actually trying to terrorize, it has to be a surprise attack, or else that the faction with more power was just gonna stop it from happening, or it would become a battle. It wouldn't be a terror attack, right? It would just be a battle. So, just going back to that, how could it be a terror attack if you knew about it? How could you blame those lives on the terrorists if you didn't warn them and you knew about it? At what point do your hands become dirty because of what you knew? Right? Are you not an accomplice to this? The fact that you had information that could have saved 1,000+ people's lives, and you chose, whether because it seemed too far reach for you, that you thought it would happen, or even having a meeting the night before it happening with the IDF soldiers, IDF military, my bad, head. So you're even going to that extent to having a meeting hours before thousands of people are murdered to not do anything, to stand down. And I'm just gonna assume that because I don't get how you could have a meeting about an attack right before it happens and the instructions aren't to stand down if you're not there and prepared for the attack. Like if most of the soldiers are in the West Bank fighting, if you have a music festival going off on the border area that day, you have threats, warnings from multiple intelligence, Egypt, your own intelligence saying that it's going to happen. And you don't have any fortification on the border. Not one bit of fortification. You let them die. I mean, that's what it came down to. Let's listen to this old. See what he got to say. Sometimes they say something good once in a while.
Now, if you're Israel, if you knew that Hamas was planning this, even if you didn't know when, wouldn't you fortify the border? Maybe you don't know precisely when the attack is coming, or maybe you don't believe that it is coming, but don't you fortify the border because you see them planning to do it? Don't you do that just in case, out of an abundance of caution? You don't say, we'll take our chances? That was Friday. Now we learn, not only did they know about it over a year in advance, but they were short selling the Israeli stock market with contracts that expire on the day after the invasion. And they made, what was the number? $1 billion. So Israeli traders or other traders made $1 billion betting that the Israeli stock exchange would crash a day after the attack. Really? So they knew that they were doing it. They saw them preparing it. They didn't fortify the border. And then 2 weeks before the attack, they all shorted the Israeli stock exchange. So Israeli day traders knew something that the Israeli government didn't? Or some other traders knew something that the Israeli government didn't? They knew about it, but Mossad didn't. Israeli military intelligence didn't. I mean, so this story is just crumbling. That story is completely it was already implausible. It already made no sense, and everyone acknowledged that from the beginning. Every aspect of it that I just said, up until and including the moment the attack began. Because Israel has helicopters. You can mobilize those helicopters in 20 minutes. Israel's not a big place. You could get helicopters to the border in a second. It took them 8 hours to respond. And it took them a full day to repel the invasion. And everyone pointed out from the beginning that this is pretty conspicuous for all the reasons I stated. But that's what we knew the day of. 2 months later, we see Israel's ambitions here. And we see this evidence from Friday and today. And the narrative that they didn't see it coming, that it was this intelligence failure narrative, it no longer satisfies. It no longer satisfies all the conditions. Israel didn't know, but they did know about it, but they just didn't think it would happen, but yet some other people thought it would happen the day that it happened. It's crumbling. That narrative doesn't work anymore. It just doesn't pass the test. So what we're left to believe is that that this was done deliberately. That seems to be the only viable conclusion. If Israel wasn't surprised, then it means that they knew this was coming and Hamas invaded and they let it happen. They permitted Hamas to invade. They allowed Hamas to invade. They deliberately allowed Hamas to take hostages. Maybe Israel even killed their own people in the crossfire to inflate the kill count. Then they could go to the United States and talk about 15 9/11s that just occurred on our soil, and they could annex Gaza. And they could save Netanyahu from prosecution and save his Likud government, and they could take Gaza, which they always wanted, which they're doing right now. And now that's bad enough. That shows that Israel's a pariah state. That shows these people are barbarians. People talk about Muslims are barbarians. They let their own people get killed. They killed their own people so that they could go and seize land. so that they could leave a dictator in power. And they talk about Putin's a war criminal. This is like the most war criminal thing that's happened since Saddam Hussein. Or I don't even know. Go back to Stalin or something. This is about as bad as it gets in the 21st century. They talk about Putin. They talk about the Palestinians. This seems to be the inescapable.
Yeah. So sometimes the nut job will say something truthful. You know what I mean? In this case, you can hear, I'm not sure if y'all caught that part, but the part when he was talking about the stock traders. See, there's a story. Let me see if I can bring it up. But the stock traders short sold Israel the day before the attack, right? So, terror attacks tend to bring chaos, and chaos tends to not usually go up. It goes down in the stock market. You know what I mean? There's points where volatility, yes, in volatile moments, yes, it can go up. But in the short term, in chaos and terror, there's going to be a dip because most people are going to tend to flight. And if y'all don't understand, there's, in the fear and in the moment of fear, people either fight or flight, right? In the stock market. And don't think it doesn't still apply to those people in stock, because they got their money, they have their life savings, they're putting all that money up. You know what I mean? There's a point where when something happens that's kind of chaos and makes you feel uncomfortable, it may be the best thing to flight. Just wipe your hands clean up and get your money out now, right? So in this case, the surprise, quote unquote, surprise attack that they pretty much told us when it happened, right? Knowing they knew, at least U.S. intelligence knew, because if Israel knew, we knew that they knew about it a year ahead of time. And go to some of the early interviews of, which I don't hear him talk no more, but not John Kirby, the other dude, the other dude, his boss, whatever. What's his name? The dude, it was he was part of Biden's staff, whatever. Go to some of his earlier interviews, and they clearly said that this was an intelligence failure. They said, we don't want to call it an intelligence failure, but, and fill in the word, it's an intelligence failure. You can go check out one of them early interviews. He definitely mentioned it. And so they knew the whole time. But for some reason, they felt like just lying to people, lying to the American people, just having old Biden just go out there and just lie to the American people. Like, they don't even care about the Democrats. They have Biden in the approval ratings at the bottom. Like, they don't even care. They don't care about the people. They don't care about the people that's going to get the people to vote for them. All they want to do is control the situation. So if they can control the narrative, does Biden need to be popular now? No, let's make Biden our little, puppet right now to get the American people to believe our story, even though the narrative, if they know the truth, this narrative wouldn't work. Right, so they get Biden out there, beheaded babies and all these things. The next day, it's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. Not proven. That's a lie. That's a lie. But he's going out there. He's taking the hits and the punches. He's out there like George Foreman, just taking punches left and right. Like Biden, the babies, surprise attack, boom, death counts wrong, bow. Like the Biden had no chance. And I'm not trying to defend Biden because he need to go. He got to go. But you got to look at his people, his staff. Had to have known the truth. I don't know if they told Biden the truth. I'm not going to say. I'm sure Kamala Harris was competent enough. People want to say she's incompetent. She's competent enough to have known the truth. She's part of the game too. She's lying to us too. They're laughing at Biden. You go see, you see the clips of them laughing at Biden behind their back, like trying to hold in laughs, because they just see that how he's getting used. And they're just either with it or just have to be with it, right? So they send Biden out there to lie to the American people. They're lying to us. The whole time, Israel had known about this attack, right? And they get their talking points right? So, and you notice all the talking points: surprise attack, surprise attack, surprise attack. Knowing the people that wrote the talking points knew it wasn't a surprise attack. So, Bibi Netanyahu knew. Ain't no running from it. Everybody knew that, and now we know it. I was saying it. People were like, no, he didn't. Like, I don't even think anybody really denied it, but I don't get how you can fight for something when you knew that he set his people up to get slaughtered. Like, isn't that some, like, Stalin war criminal? Like, that's some, like, they talking about Gaza, right? I think that's the distraction. Like, he had to have, and let me just say this in the most respectful way. Okay, the government currently running in Israel had tried to plan this little scheme or allow this little scheme to happen in such a sloppy way that to cover up him allowing his own people to be slaughtered, and even in some cases people saying that there's an Apache helicopter of their own killing their own, right? So just move that aside. He set his people up to be slaughtered. The Nova Music Festival, all those communities on the border, he left unprotected and did not send people. Like, I don't care how you want to draw it or how you want to, like, portray it. He knew a year in advance. He did not provide any extra protection for those people in the area. He didn't even warn the music festival that was on the border that was happening the day of. They had a meeting the night, hours before the music festival about it, and still did not warn anybody about it. So I don't care how you want to write it. My man let his people get slaughtered, right? War crime. That's like some Stalin. I mean, that's like some crazy war criminal stuff, right? The war criminals always kill their own, right? Isn't that what they do? That's how they start. They kill their own, right? But they distract us in the most deceitful way. They distract us and start killing the Palestinians. War crime status, slaughtering them, like, you know what I mean? Like, just Russia's numbers in Ukraine were just slaughtered in a week. Like the amount of people killed and by amount of civilians killed in Russia or in Ukraine was surpassed. And check my numbers in weeks. And I'm talking about civilians, right? Maybe a month. And that war's been going on for 2 years, right? So he go in there just killing the Palestinians, innocent, the bad ones, the good ones, the small ones, the tall ones, all of them. The U.S. stands over there and just, they have the right to defend themselves. They could have defended themselves. They had the right to defend themselves on October 7th and 6th. They knew about it for a year. They had the right to defend themselves a month before. They had the right to prepare for defend themselves. They had those rights. So why do we have to allot their right to go kill Palestinians when they had the right to do it when they knew about it a year before? They could have been in defense mode, right? I don't get how y'all expect people to believe that if you know something's coming for you and you don't prepare for it to come, and you've been warned, you brush it off like, oh, he's not coming. It's like the whole, like, I'm gonna go get a gun, dude. He may or may not come back, right? But if you continue with your ways, one of them I'm gonna get the gun dudes is gonna come back. And in this case, the I'm gonna get the gun dude said, I'm gonna go get the gun. He left. A few people came back, said, he's getting the gun. Oh, he's coming back with the gun. Some more people ran up like, he's got the gun. He's coming with the gun. and you still partying, playing music, doing music festivals, when the dude with the gun is coming back with the gun, right? And then when the dude comes back with the gun, let's just in the sense that the party isn't even aware that the dude is coming back with the gun. Even though people ran back, they told you though, that you didn't tell nobody at the party, right? They told, hey, he's coming back with the gun, but no one at the party knows a dude with the gun is coming. Just you. You step away, whatever you gotta do. The dude with the gun comes, starts spraying, because he's mad. He don't care what's going on. He's mad at the whole establishment. He's crazy, right? Do you get to blame the dude with the gun for all the people at that party, or the number of the people at that party getting fatally injured, fatally wounded, death? Do you get to blame the dude with the gun, or do you blame yourself? And that's where the whole Israel thing comes down. Like, why aren't you blaming yourself? In some way, the dude would have never got the gun if it wasn't for your actions. And in all other ways, when the warnings of others, I mean, if you were there, I'm guarantee you would have had defense. But no, you stepped to the back room. You know what I mean? You took the guards away. You took the guards to the back and had a meeting while the dude with the gun came back. Some people are saying that the guards ran out and started just shooting randomly at people. You know, that's just to take the analogy on to the next level. Like, the guards came out the meeting and just started shooting at the person with the gun, and didn't disregard the people around them, right? But that's a whole nother. And we'll see if that comes out later. It could be one of them fake things that they put out there to prove wrong, like the hospital bombing. You know, sometimes they'll put a news story out there to prove it wrong, right? To say, hey, we're right. Y'all wrong. Y'all be wrong. We be right. But with that said, I'm going to let y'all go. We all know where America stands with this. We all know where the American government stands with this. We will see how they will transition over through the 2024 election. And we'll see Biden he may even come out with a Palestinian suit on, with the flag, with a patch on it or something like that. Biden is going to be a second citizen Palestinian by the time the elections come around. I'm just letting y'all know. He's gonna visit it. He's gonna build a house in Gaza. I'm just saying. Watch out for it, y'all. Watch out for the switch right now. From beheaded babies to he's gonna own a condo out there. You know what I mean? A Airbnb out there. It's gonna be nice too. But y'all like, subscribe, comment, all that below. Stay up.